is if I don't have, do I need a specific fulfillment service in order to fulfill all of my orders, or is that something that I would have to do manually? Just kind of wanted to see what you do in order to fulfill orders, or is that automatic once you link the supplier?
So when it comes to, it all depends on what supplier you're using as well. But when it comes to ZenDrop or CJ drop shipping, that would be, manual unless you have, of course, the premium plan. So for instance, on CJ drop shipping, they do have a option to where if you have, multiple sales coming in, you can, transmit each of the sales you had, you're looking to fulfill into the fulfillment process. And then of course you will, fulfill those orders, by purchasing it and sending them straight to the customer. And then of course, once the order is processed, and then you release the tracking number, that's when you would provide that to the customer and fulfill those on Shopify. But in terms of automated fulfillment processes, in the beginning phases, I wouldn't say that is a good option. It is a good option, but when it comes to scaling up as well as consistent revenue coming in each month, that's when I will transition over to fulfillment centers. That way they could process your orders as well as getting them out to customers pretty fast. But they usually have a minimum order quantity in terms of a minimum amount of sales you're doing each month before they work with you. Sometimes it's 20 sales a day, maybe 100 sales a month. That way they get benefit on their end, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And then my only other question is, I'm trying to kind of edit the store right now. I'm trying to put our logo to be right in the middle of the banner, and for whatever reason, I'm not being able to do that. I just want to know like how to do that since, after we're done with this course, obviously we're going to be making other stores. Um, when I go to the banner, it gives me the option of adding the logo, but it's always to the side and it's not, where right where you have Meta Hoop, I'm having trouble putting my logo right in the middle. Um, and maybe it's in the middle because you just had it on mobile, but I want to see if I can put Meta Hoop where you have Shop the Meta Hoop. Like just have my logo be right smack in the middle of it.
Yes. So of course, if you click on where your logo is located, so for instance, where the meta hoop is, you click that. Oops. On the side, it should bring up the header navigational. So for instance, the menu logo in the logo link, edit should be able to center it. Let's see, for instance. Okay. Logo center. Okay. So yeah, so in terms of under the main menu where it says header navigational, navigation type, you would have to, put the logo into the center.
Okay, I'm just gonna try and do that. On my end, I don't seem to have the, okay, let me try one other thing. I'm not really finding the navigation part for the header. I could be wrong. I can definitely stay behind after class if that's easier too. I don't want to hold up the class.
So in terms of today's class, I remember in the last session that I had taught, we went over the ABO testing strats in terms of TikTok. It was going over breaking down running campaigns on the ad group level, meaning, ABO meaning you're spending the ad budget on a ad group level as opposed to a campaign level. So for instance, if you have 3 ad groups at $20 a pop or $50 a pop, they would be spending the ad spend individually in between each ad group. So today we would be going over what's called a CBO campaign. CBO is the campaign budget optimization, meaning you would be spending the ad spend on a campaign level as a whole. So for instance, if you have a campaign for $100 a day, it would just spend $100 a day. I mean, $100 a day doesn't matter how many ad groups you have, any ad sets. You could have 5, 10, 15. It would spend 100 regardless. Also, later in, we'll be going over how you can utilize, ChatGPT as well as, OpenAI to come up with product descriptions for your store, landing page generations, as well as, email marketing. That way you are, distributing persuasive copy throughout your store, as well as your email automation flows. That way you are, retargeting customers back to your store, retaining that lifetime customer value. So for instance, gotcha. Okay. So these were the metrics of the last campaign I believe that was a couple weeks ago, the last class I had taught. So I didn't get a full day of spending. TikTok had cut the ads off. The ad manager had went down that day, unfortunately. But just based off of what we did get in terms of the how long a day run, it was about 4 or 5 hours or so. So we had a couple ad groups we went into. We had $21.51 in terms of the total cost for that day. We had the budget campaign set at $100 a day. So we definitely wanted, more cost on that. But unfortunately, TikTok had went down that day, and it did cut off the campaigns. But in terms of the cost, we had $21.51. We also had 4,949 impressions, meaning right about 5,000 people who saw our ad. And we also had 65 people click on the ad. So when it comes to 65 out of 5,000, I'd say that's about around 1 to 3 click-through rate, 1 to 3% click-through rate. So of course, the click-through rate is the percentage of what a potential customer clicks on a link. So for instance, 65 out of 5,000, around that 1 to 3% range. So of course, this is a determination on if your content is quality or not. So for instance, once you are coming into the market, I recommend professional content starting out. That way, when you're in those initial testing campaigns, those testing phases, when it comes to those initial testing campaigns, I recommend good content, quality content with revolving around your product. So for instance, going with content creators who are experienced in this matter, as opposed to starting out on your own. You could start on your own in terms of taking that organic approach when it comes to creating that content yourself. But when it comes to paid marketing, putting actual ad spend behind it, I recommend the first couple campaigns be with professional content. So of course we had 5 conversions for about 4 hours, 5 hours as the ad was running. We had 5 conversions, and the product was $44.99. So in terms of the 5 times 45, excuse me, 5 times 45 is about 240 some bucks return on ad spend. So of course you have ROAS. ROAS is what we use to track the return on ad spend, how much we're spending for each campaign, each ad group. It allows us to understand exactly how much we're making on each buck spent. So for instance, we had 21 bucks ad spend total. We had 5 conversions for about 245 bucks in total sales. So for instance, that would be a 10 ROAS, meaning 10 ROAS, meaning 10 return on our ad spend, 10x. So for instance, we spent 21 bucks to get 240 bucks in terms of total cost. Total sales. So of course, they may not look like yours when it comes to your ads manager when you start your campaigns. For instance, okay, gotcha. Yeah, so for instance, campaigns can get a little bit slow when it comes to setting up a fresh ad account if you are, just getting started on TikTok. TikTok, I would say, prioritize brands that are, seasoned, I would say. So of course, warming up your pixel is, a good idea. For instance, maybe taking an organic approach to start out, get your content into the algorithm. Of course, it depends on, what product you're running, as well as, what niche you're getting into. They all play a part in, converting one to sell. Excuse me. So of course, if you are, looking to run your Facebook ads, not Facebook ads, your TikTok ads, you would have to, come over to the TikTok ads manager. Of course, on Google, you type in either the ads.tiktok or the TikTok ads manager. This should bring you up to, this platform. So of course, you have, different avenues on where you could, distribute traffic towards your store. So for instance, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Google ads, Google SEO as well. Pinterest is another good one that's coming up on the market as well. Etsy, Sean is leveraging Etsy to market his dropshipping business as well right now. But today we will be getting into, TikTok, those CBO campaigns, mainly because, TikTok is one of the, more lucrative platforms to advertise on at the moment, mainly because the wide user base of how many new users are coming in each month is hundreds of thousands each month is, it's actually insane. That's why they're trying to get it shut down, unfortunately. But I think we definitely got at least 2 years before they can actually shut that down. I know that they were trying to shut it down in Montana. I think that was the first state that it was banned in, but they said it wouldn't even take effect till like July next year. So we definitely still have time to, leverage this platform to, distribute traffic towards our brands. So of course, once you do come into the TikTok Ads Manager, if you are, a fresh ad account, signing up for that ad account will be, the first step. Once you do have that account signed up, the first step after that would be, connecting that to your Shopify store. That way you could accurately track these metrics. For instance, your Shopify store does track metrics, but in terms of the ads manager, you definitely want to have that pixel set up as well. That way you know exactly, how much money is spent, how much is coming in, add to carts, checkouts, as well as, sales. So for instance, coming over to events. So under assets, under events, you want to hit on web events and click manage. For all those who are not familiar, this is how you set up your pixel. So for instance, setting up a new pixel, is pretty easy in terms of connecting that to your store. You would hit set up web events. You would hit partner setup. If you already had your Shopify store available, you would hit next. And then after next, you would click on Shopify. So of course, there is other platforms that is available, but most of our stores will be, on Shopify or either Wix maybe. But for the most part, it would be on Shopify. 1 second. Okay. Yeah. So of course, then you would hit next. So in terms of, connecting that to your Shopify store, you would have to have that TikTok app downloaded on your Shopify store. So for instance, leave page, go to apps. So for instance, the Shopify web store is where you get most of your apps from. There's thousands of apps you can utilize inside the Shopify app store that could increase the conversion rates on your store, as well as new features, bundles, cross sells, upsells, whatever could, increase that appeal around your brand. So of course, under TikTok, we have the original TikTok app. They have all of these other ones. This is the only one you need. Downloading that. Once that is installed, it would ask you to, sign in. So you would just use the same account that you use to create the ad account and sign in with that. So for instance, once it is downloaded, it would be under the sales channel, not under the apps. So any of the sales channels, for instance, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, Google, they will show up under the sales channel as opposed to, the apps. Just food for thought. So of course, under the installed channels, TikTok, so of course, we already have it set up, but if you come under the sales channel and click on the TikTok, it would say set up marketing. So of course you would hit that button, set up marketing. It would take you through, the steps you would need to create, connect your ad accounts. So for instance, it would be a couple drop down menus. It would say connect ad account as well as connect business manager. You already have those set up if you just created your ad account, and it'll just ask you, it would ask you what you would like your reach to be. It's a good, average, and it would say maximum. You want to hit maximum. That way you could increase your reach on, what your pixel could collect. So for instance, okay, so for instance, right under here, if it's not up at the top, how to set up TikTok marketing, I already have it set up, but it would usually say set up marketing right here. Any questions on that pixel connection? No questions?
I just want to make sure that TikTok account is like different from just personal account, right?
The TikTok Ads Manager, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. So in terms of you definitely want to have TikTok pages. I mean, you definitely want to have your TikTok page built around your brand. You really don't want to mix your personal with your brand. mainly because it just, looks skeptic in terms of potential customers. They see, what's the actual overall appeal of this brand. So for instance, you have, branding as well as, personal in terms of maybe influencers. You could definitely leverage influencers to, push out your products in terms of, influencers who are in your niche. Let's say, for instance, Labster, definitely a resource you could use to get great content, hire influencers within your niche to push your product. Excuse me. So, for instance, find and hire influencers in seconds is a great way to get content revolving around your product, as well as introducing your product into a potential influencer's audience. So, for instance, let's say we were in the for this store, the overall theme of this store would be, home fitness, how you can lose weight from home, as well as leveraging this product to, transform your physique. So, of course, we would, want our audience to tap into an audience that are already, similar to, what we have going on. So, for instance, fitness platform. So, for instance, we want to, advertise on TikTok, fitness for our category, health and fitness, maybe, say for health and fitness. So what this would do is bring up a, wide variety of influencers, inside this niche. So for instance, you have, content type, you definitely want to have, videos, or a live. A live is a good option as well. If it comes to, hiring a content creator to, go live, if they have a good amount of followers, they could definitely go live and introduce your product to their audience. Definitely a great way to distribute traffic towards your store, mainly because it's live traffic. It's people who are having real interaction with the product on hand. So for instance, an influencer, you can introduce that product to their audience and it resonate well just based off the fact that it's already within the niche you're looking to work in. So for instance, health and fitness followers, you could definitely say, in between. I really don't want to overdo it, mainly because if you start getting up to these areas, they start charging you 500,000 a video. It definitely could be beneficial if they are, getting great engagement rates. So for instance, let's see, 500K to 1 million, if they're getting 250,000 to 345,000 views per vid, that could definitely be a beneficial partnership. But when it comes to some of the micro influencers, that's what I recommend. That way you could, stack up on different influencers pushing your product. So for instance, you could have your product coming from 3 to 4 or 5 different influencers from different angles. Customers, have no choice but to buy at that point. You have different influencers promoting social proof, around your brand, making sure it's trustworthy, as well as amplifying the fact that people are actually, interacting with your products. So influencer marketing definitely is a, good use of, it's gonna be a good tool to use in terms of, leveraging platforms as well as audiences who are already engaged in, niches you are selling in. So,
okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question at this point. So how the process is going, should we just send the product to the influencer and they will make a video and they will create everything and just post to their account, or should we have to create a video and send them and give some instruction?
So what I like to do when it comes to coming into a fresh market, I have new products that I'm looking to introduce to the market. What I would do is, do some competitor research. That way I can see, how videos, how ads are structured, within the product that I'm looking to sell. So for instance, going on TikTok, maybe Instagram, or even Google or Facebook as well. Maybe the ads library, you can find content revolving around the product you're looking to sell. See successful brands that are pushing this product, maybe or within the same niche. That way you could send a guideline to the professional content creator that they can go by. For instance, say this is a video that's been doing well, it's been engaging well, and I'm looking to sell a similar product. Could you mimic, I would say, or implement some of these selling points around my product? That way we could distribute traffic towards our store. But when it comes to influencers, they could post it on their page. Of course, that would be the best way to engage with the audience they already have. But you could also have the video that they make for you and push ads from your own account. That makes sense.
We're pushing ads from
Thank
our
you.
own account. Is that what we have? Is that what we built the TikTok ad manager around?
Yes. So
That video?
I'm sorry.
Like, are we creating when we get content creators to create videos for us? Is that the video that we're pushing as? Is that the video that we put ad spend on through the ads
Yes.
manager?
Yes.
So they send us the video, and then how do we get followers on our own TikTok account? Like, if we wanted to grow, because yeah, I don't have any followers on my TikTok account for my brand.
Yeah, so of course, posting content each day could definitely be one route. So for instance, if you have multiple products on your store, what I would do is, ship some of them out to your house. Maybe do some unboxing videos. If the packaging looks good, maybe do some product utility videos in terms of explaining what your product does, as well as what I would do is analyze content around that niche or around a product that you're looking to sell, just to get content ideas, creative inspiration ideas, just to, see what good content out there revolving around this product looks like, and maybe implement into your content. But when it comes to, pushing those ads, yes, content you get from the the influencers are great to use when it comes to, paid marketing, as well as when it comes to the organic marketing approach. You could use, Spark ads to push your content, push your ad spend through the content you already have, on your page. That way you could, gain followers, gain views, mainly because if you are, pushing ad spend, it is still people seeing your content as well as seeing your product. So for instance, if you already have videos on your page, putting ad spend through it will, leverage traffic towards your video as well as towards your store.
And then typically, how much is this gonna cost? Like, cause I had paid for the um the store for me to be made through the program,
Gotcha.
and then now I'm just at the stage where I need to do marketing. I've had my marketing meeting as yet, but I'm just wondering, like, on a gauge to see how much I have to spend on everything included, videos, products, like everything before I start making a profit.
Gotcha. Yes. So in terms of the products, you definitely don't have to. I mean, unless you have shipping out the products to yourself, that would be, the only product cost. But of course, getting them directly from the supplier, you will be getting them for, what you will be getting them for if you were to import them to your store. So for instance, products you're looking to work with, looking to ship out, it could be, in between $4 to $10 from the supplier directly. Unless you're looking to get them from Amazon to get them there a little bit quicker, maybe 2 to 3 days. But when it comes to, excuse me. But yes, when it comes to the content on your, your TikTok page, distributing that, as well as, building that social presence around your brand. So for instance, TikTok as well as Instagram, posting the same content on each platform could definitely, leverage both platforms, towards your store. But I kind of forgot the second part of your question. Could you repeat that real
Now, what
fast?
was gonna be the full price?
Okay. Yes, so that varies, of course, on how much you have coming in. So I would say like 30 to 40% of clients come in with around 5 to 10, 15,000 set aside for ad spend budget purposes. But
15,000?
yeah, that's not average. But of course you can come in with, in between 1 to 3K. It would be, a gradual increase in terms of, return on your ad spend that you're seeing. But you should definitely, start seeing sales. So for instance, I believe the minimum you can have on a campaign is $50 a day. I believe they upped it from $20 a day a couple months ago. But excuse me, make sure real fast. It's out the way. Set came budget. Okay, so yeah, it says at least 50 for the budget. Meaning if you have a CBO or you're looking to, excuse me, for a CBO, it would be 50 budget, $50 per budget in terms of minimum you have to, spend per day. Sometimes it doesn't spend 50 a day, sometimes it spends, 25, 30, 40. But for the most part, 50 would be the minimum. Excuse me. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So of course, getting into the campaign, this would be, the initial steps to setting that up. So for instance, when it comes to the advertising objective, this would be, what you want your objective to be when it comes to pushing out your ads. So of course, you have 7, 8 different options you can choose from. Most of these fluff, you really don't have to worry about them. Product sales, it's in the beta platform. It's gonna be in the beta phases of the options. So for instance, product sales, this would be, having your advertising objective centered around, pushing traffic towards product sales. So it's in the beta phases. I would recommend, website conversion just for, starting out, mainly because the product sales is still in that beta phase. When it comes to, full phase in terms of the alpha, that's when I would recommend, using that, mainly because I've tried it. In my experience, it's a little buggy. It's a little buggy in terms of how it's been working. Last couple of days, it was, spending, then it wasn't spending. So for instance, starting out, I would either do, website generation or lead generation if you're looking to, sell a service or a product, as well as traffic. So for instance, traffic, website conversions, and lead generation, 3 of the best traffic objectives you can use to, distribute traffic towards your store. So of course, in between each of these objectives, are different demographics of potential customers. So for instance, website conversions, if you are, optimizing for that, it would be pushing your content to potential customers who have what we call buyer's intent, meaning they previously purchased from TikTok or, Instagram or Facebook. And we have that traffic, meaning placing them into, specific demographics of sellers. That way we could, distribute the traffic accordingly as well as efficiently. So for instance, website conversions, campaign name, you definitely want to have your campaign optimized for an organization. So for instance, CBO tests.
Joe, excuse me. So are all these steps though, is this like in the course as well?
Yeah, so this would be the CBO step. They also have the ABO as well as the CBO inside of the course, but we're going to break it down a little bit more.
Okay.
Yes. So of course we have the campaign name, CBO test number 1, MetaHoop. This would be the initial campaign we have for CBO. So of course, right down here where it says campaign budget optimization, this would be, optimizing that for CBO, meaning, as I was saying before, it would be spending your ad spend on a campaign level as opposed to a ad group level. So for instance, we have the budget at, let's say, $100 a day. This meaning we would be spending $100 a day for the total campaign, no matter if we have 5 ad groups, 10 ad groups, 20 ad groups, it would be spending $100 a day.
What are ad groups?
Yes, so I'll be going over that in a second. So of course we have ad groups. So specifically, what we do when it comes to ad groups, we can target specifically, different audiences as well as interests. That way we could directly dial in on potential customers who are already interested in our product or within the niche that we're looking to sell in. So for instance, ad group name, let's see, CBO, waist trainer. It will have interest. Keep these organized as well. That way once you are looking in between each of these ad groups to see how they're performing, you can understand, well, which ad groups are performing, which are not. That way you can cut off which ones aren't, increase the budget on which ones are, and so forth and so on. So for instance, ad group name, waist trainer, we have interest, meaning we're going to have interest that we're going to be dialing into, as well as 18 through 65, meaning we have a broad range in terms of the ages we'll be directly dialing into as well. So for instance, optimization location, we have the website. Of course, we have the pixel we just set up. You want to select that, as well as the optimization event. So for information, when it comes to the optimization event, when it's a fresh ad account, I recommend going with one of the lower level objectives, mainly because when it comes to fresh ad account, TikTok, they probably won't spend it, start spending your ad spend if you click complete payment. So complete payment is one of the higher level optimization events. So for instance, add to cart as well as view content is 2 of the the better ones to use initially. So for today, we're going to be doing add to cart. So of course you have placements. So placements is, where your ad will be directly placed, meaning, on the TikTok platform, meaning Pangu, you can uncheck that, mainly because I haven't distributed any sales from Pangu. It's a, separate third party source from TikTok. I won't recommend, having your ads there. So of course, when it comes to, the advanced settings, you have user comments, video downloads, video sharing. When it comes to the downloads, you definitely want to have those off at all times, mainly because you don't want anyone stealing your creatives. It's pretty easy to, rip creatives and set up shops and set up TikTok pages for, products that are booming at the moment. So if you are in the middle of a successful campaign, you really don't want people downloading your video and your creatives. As well as, with the comments. When it comes to user comments, you can leave this on, you can leave this off. It all depends on, what you're selling. So for instance, if you have content or product that create, controversy, in the comments, you could, definitely leave those on, mainly because, more comments means more engagement. More engagement means, more views, meaning more traffic, potential traffic towards your store. So of course, if you are have content with somewhat controversy. So for instance, I know you remember about 6-8 months ago, if you were, around at the time and interested in e-commerce, maybe on TikTok, you see the back cracker product, the one where, lay back and they cracks your back for you. Now, it was a lot of little kids making videos, moaning, as well as making all types of noises once they crack their back. It would just create controversy in the comments, and you open the comments, and the first 50 comments would be, about that sound and, about the goofy aspect of the video. So of course that creates more engagement, around your product. But for now, we want to turn it off. So for the viewers, for the video channel, you can leave that on, mainly because potential customers could be, sending it out to someone who could buy it for them, as well as someone who could be interested in the product. So for instance, I was interested in the home fitness, but I didn't see the ad, but my friend, he's seen the ad, he can send that to me. I can go see the video, click the link, and, buy the product. So you would like to keep that on. Excuse me. So of course you have next what's called the creative type. So the automated creative optimization, or what we call ACO, meaning you can have your campaign rendered towards, creating a lot of content for your ad group. So for instance, not creating, utilizing a lot of content for your ad groups. So for instance, you have 5 to 10 creatives, what we call content. So creatives is what we call, content is e-commerce terminology. But of course, you have a lot of creatives on hand. You could check the ACO. And for instance, we have a CBO campaign, meaning we have, multiple ad groups, say like 5 to 10. We could have multiple content in between, each of these ad groups. That way we could determine, which ads are working best, what content is working best. That way we could, allocate our funds and our energy towards, what's already performing. So I do only have one ad for today. I definitely have to order more for the waist trainer, but today we'll be leaving that off. But in terms of the targeting, this is where you would directly dial in towards, people who are already interested, in what you have to sell. So for instance, custom targeting, automatic would be, broad, meaning no interest, broad, you're letting TikTok find customers for you, meaning whoever sees the ad sees the ad. So it would be, no specific audience testing, targeting that you would be selected for this option. So for instance, custom targeting is where we'd be utilizing today. So utilizing custom targeting will be pretty beneficial when it comes to distributing traffic, quality traffic, I would say high quality traffic. People who are already interested in what you have. So for instance, custom targeting, here you can create audience as well. So for instance, audiences are, potential people who already seen your product, people who already interacted with your ad or your website. So for instance, creating audiences allows you to, retarget customers who are pretty interested in what you have to sell. So for instance, sounds good. We could definitely maybe set that up for Saturday. I am personally pretty busy tomorrow. But if you're free Saturday, we could definitely set that up.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay. Okay. Let's see what else we have.
I will just question real quick.
Yes.
Yeah, after this, like explaining it after this, can you please show from the first section campaign. I just want to make sure I'm going through correctly.
You mean the first portion of the ad campaign?
Yeah. When you have time.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll be sending the I'll be sending the link for the recap to everyone in there. So if you could post your email, a good email for you inside the chat once the other recording is done and upload it up to YouTube, I will be sending it out to everyone who sends their email, of course. Okay, I believe that's everybody. Okay, we can get back to it. In terms of of course, the optimization location, Pixel, want to make sure that's connected. Of course, it should show up here. If not, you can hit create new, and it'll take you directly to that process I was speaking on earlier. Of course, optimization event, as I was saying, maybe you want to start out with a lower level in terms of fresh ad accounts, maybe running your first campaign, maybe initiate checkout or add the content. I mean, add the cart. Could definitely be, 2 avenues you could use. And of course, the placements, you want to make sure that's on TikTok, not Pangle. Pangle, they're not pushing ads. Comments, of course, you could have that on and off. Depends on what your content entails, as well as video download. You want to make sure that's off automatically every time, as well as video sharing. You want to keep that on. All right. So of course, when it comes to the targeting, as I was saying, the specific audiences you can tap into that allow you to retarget customers who already had interest in your product. So for instance, when it comes to the gender, you want to keep that pretty broad. In my experience, keeping it broad allows you to distribute traffic, evenly in between each gender to analyze which genders are buying them more. I did run a jewelry store about a year and a half ago on TikTok that was doing pretty well. Initially, I was only targeting females. We were doing pretty good. I would say about 12,000 a month profit on that jewelry store. Then I understand that males also have buyer's potential in that niche, mainly because it could definitely be bought as a gift, as well as seasonal for moms, spouses, significant others. I didn't have that portion included. So for instance, when it comes to the genders, you definitely want to keep that as broad as possible, as well as for the age, unless of course you are trying to directly dial into a product that is general towards a specific age. So for instance, let's say you are offering products that help knee pain or back pain or something like that. Maybe older demographics could be more lucrative for that. But of course, if you have products that are geared towards anyone, keeping that age on all could definitely be useful. Household income, that doesn't really matter, mainly because no one's inputting their income information on TikTok. As well as audience. As I was saying, when it comes to the lookalike audiences, what you would do is, I would say a couple of weeks down the road, once you already have traction on your pixel already has enough data to create audiences. What you would do is hit create. It would bring you to a new tab. But it would definitely stick to the once you do it, when you create it, it would show up right here as where it says no data. But for instance, when it comes to audiences, what you can do is hit create audience. I apologize, I'm talking fast. But for instance, hit custom audience or lookalike audience. What we could do is hit custom audience. So website traffic. Actually, matter of fact, we'll do lookalike audiences, mainly because it would be best for distributing traffic read back to your store. So for instance, create a custom audience, website traffic. You want to collect, of course, select the pixel that has been generating this traffic, that has all the data on it. Of course, in between the past 30 days, in between once you started the marketing to where you are now, you could do it for more, 90, 180. But of course, you have the following actions. This is where you could directly dial in on people who show specific interest into your product. So for instance, view content, add to cart, place an order, complete payment, initiate checkout, page view. That's a good one as well. So anyone who clicked on your page, you can retarget to them with ads. I've seen that work extremely well, mainly because you can just be scrolling on TikTok. You can see an ad you saw last week. You'll probably see that ad every day for the next couple of weeks. To be honest, I have seen it in my personal experience, only because I swiped on it once and I went to the page where the to see the product on their website, and I was seeing it for the next couple of days. So of course, running these lookalike audiences, retargeting customers who are already interested could definitely be, beneficial to, get them back to your store. So of course, when it comes to, retargeting, I would set campaigns up separate from, initial campaigns, mainly because you have the initial campaigns to drive that traffic, see if you can get initial sales off that campaign. Then you have the retargeting campaigns separate from the initial campaigns to redistribute that traffic. So for instance, if you have a retargeting campaign, you could use different content. This is where I would introduce new creatives. For instance, if you're looking to retarget traffic, you could use what we call a product review video. You could outsource some content to a professional content creator who could explain what your product does, a product review, how it impacted their life, why it's convenient to them on a day-to-day basis. And what that would do is create social proof and social trust inside the potential customer who was already interested, mainly because you're retargeting them because they saw their video in the past. So introducing new products, introducing new content, as well as new creatives could definitely be beneficial when targeting audiences. So of course, view content, add the cart. So when it comes to placing an order on complete payment, if they already bought from your store, retargeting them unless you have multiple products you're looking to sell. Initiate checkout. And that would be each one. So for instance, having each of these could definitely redistribute traffic towards your store. So for instance, audience name, waist trainer, lookalike. So LAA for lookalike audience. All right, you want to hit confirm. So what that does is creates that audience, it's gonna be on your database. It's probably unavailable right now. It takes about a couple hours for it to receive that data from that pixel in terms of each and every one who's seen your video, clicked on your link. But when it comes to your original campaign, refresh that real quick. Hope it doesn't restart everything. That would be tragic. So pixel like that, cart placement, tragic. All right, so of course, when it comes to the custom targeting, you have those audiences you just selected. So events look like refresh, okay, custom, refresh. Probably not showing up because the data hasn't processed yet, so it's probably unavailable. Okay, so maybe a 30 to 45 minutes after you after you create the custom audience, it should be showing up inside your audience platform. So for instance, coming under audiences, the audience you just selected should be available pretty soon. So of course, refresh that once it is available and select that and start your campaigns. So of course you can select, of course you can create audience as well to exclude. So for instance, you have potential customers who show no interest in your ad at all. For instance, they saw it and they scroll within a couple seconds. You can exclude those customers, meaning they have low quality interest. You really want high quality interest when it comes to distributing traffic towards your store. So that way, excluding people who show no interest or little interest at all could be useful to saving ad spend as well as your cost per acquisitions, meaning CPA. So the CPA is a metric you can track on your campaigns as well as on your ad performance. CPA meaning the cost per acquisition, meaning how much it costs to acquire one customer. So for instance, of the CPAs on the last campaign was about $5 to $6, meaning it only costs $6 to make one sale. That's pretty average, I would say. But $6 to make one sale, which would be $45. So we have $6 plus product cost, which is about $7, which is about $13, meaning ad spend, product cost, you're in for about $13 altogether on a $45 sale. So about $20 to $27 profit. Excuse me. So of course, creating those audiences. Engagement. Okay. So of course, when it comes to, audiences, creating audiences strictly around, people who show specific interest, in your ad. So for instance, under ad groups, you can select which ad group you are looking to create that interest around. So for instance, if you are running ads for say 2 to 3 weeks, you have specific ad groups that have been bringing in good traffic, but let's say it's a little behind on sales. So for instance, you have been running it for 2 weeks, it's bringing in, I say 200 to 300 people clicked on the link, but you only got about say 10 to 15 sales. What you could do is come back to this ad group, select which one was bringing in the most traffic, click video ads. Want to make sure it's on video ads. And when it comes to action, this is where you can see specifically, people who show high interest in your ads. So for instance, if you want to retarget people who clicked on your link, you could do that. If you want people who seen your ad, you can do that. If you want people who seen your ad for 2 seconds, 6 seconds, 15 seconds, meaning they show, immense interest in your product, retargeting those with maybe new creatives, different variations of your content could definitely be, beneficial to redistributing that traffic. So of course, video view percentage as well. So for instance, they saw your ad at 100% rate, meaning they, display a lot of interest, high interest, 50%. Basically, long story short, directly dialing into people who already show, high interest in your product. So of course, what I like to do is click, meaning people who actually clicked on your link, meaning they show at least a little bit of interest to see what you got going on, what your brand offers. So clicks, a good one to use, as well as 50% video views. So anyone who show, at least half interest of, what your ad entails, as well as what you offer as a brand, could definitely be, beneficial to redistributing that. So as well as I was saying earlier, you have exclude. This would be useful as well to, let's see, actions, of course, specifically select each ad group or a campaign as a whole. So for instance, an ad group or a campaign, you can do that as well. So action, people who didn't click, people who didn't view it at 50%, people who didn't view it at 100%, people who didn't watch it for 2 seconds, you can exclude those. That way you would, not show them the content, people who, who weren't interested. Great. Was there any questions on that audience process? Looking like audiences, creating audiences in general, before we move forward? Nope. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. So of course, excuse me. See if we refresh the ad. Okay. Not yet. Okay. So as I was saying, probably about 45 minutes to an hour. Let's see, ad groups, make sure that's good, custom targeting. Okay, so of course we have the interest and behavior. So this is where you could directly dial into, interest specific audiences, as well as people who are, interested in your niche. So for instance, interest, you could directly dial into home fitness, baby, household products for those who have a household, home decor store, those who have a pet store, those who have a beauty niche, baby niche, home fitness. However it applies. So for instance, home fitness, searching up these specific interests can directly dial into audiences who are, you know, specifically interested in that. So of course you want to have a minimum of about 5 to 10 million. That way TikTok actually has a, you know, platform to distribute to, enough, you know, potential customers to, you know, dial into. So of course 5 to 10 million minimum. So you definitely want to have in between 5 to 40, 50 million. So home fitness, that's not a good one. Say weight loss. Season. Let's see. Maybe sports equipment. So of course, you know, under these interests is where you will, you know, select interests directly dialed into your niche, whatever category of products you're looking to sell. But you also have what we call, you know, targeting expansion. It's a great tool that they offered a couple months ago. TikTok had introduced into the market, to the advertising platform. Targeting expansion allows you to expand on expand on the audience you're looking to dial into, as well as, you know, similarly outside of it. So for instance, you have 40 to 50 million directly dialed into whatever interest you're looking to, you know, scale into, as well as targeting expansion. What that does is allows you to, once they have deal with the interest that you're looking to dial into, it would do what we call the outside approach. So for instance, outside of similar interests, meaning for instance, home fitness, maybe next they would go sports and outdoors. And after that, if they can't find any sales, they would go to sports and equipment. Then after that, they can't find any sales, maybe to go to, you know, home gym. So for instance, TikTok, what we do is, what TikTok does is the pixel and the algorithm allows you to expand on what you're already interested in. So of course, clicking targeting expansion, it would jump up your available audience back up to, you know, 100 million, 50 million. That way you could directly dial into it, as well as still have available audience of, you know, a good amount of potential customers. So for instance, you would have to check that in terms of the interests and behaviors. That way TikTok recognizes. So of course, the budget, you want to make sure that's set as well. When it comes to your scheduling, me personally, I like to do, you know, the next day at 12 o'clock. So for instance, 00, mainly because you get a, you know, full 24 hours of, you know, runtime. That way, for instance, if we were to start ads at about now, let's see, 8 o'clock, what it would do is spend a whole $100 in the next 4 hours. You may not get, you know, a full 24-hour ad spend runtime, and it would be, you know, just spending money inefficiently, I would say. So either 12 o'clock a.m. or 8 o'clock a.m. is the two times that I like to, you know, start running ads at. Of course, you would have to hit the next day. I do see some people make the mistakes of doing it the same day and doing it at 12 o'clock, and the ads never run, the ads never spin. You want to make sure it's on the next day. So of course, if you have, you know, specific campaign purposes on, you know, when you want to end it. So for instance, we have what we call cycles, meaning testing specific campaigns or testing specific products. If you have a specific time frame of when you want your ad to be in, you can set the start time and end time as well. So for instance, what I like to do is run test campaigns for a week at about maybe 50 to 100 a day. So for instance, let's see, about Thursday, maybe Friday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. One of those days, having an end date could be crucial, but if you are looking to scale, having no end date is the best way. So for instance, if you already have your proven product, you already have what's performing inside your ads manager, having a campaign set towards scaling would be the option. So having no end date on that would be the good. So for instance, conversions, okay. All of that should be good. Was there any questions on this audience process in terms of interest, targeting expansion, and dialing into direct audiences? Questions? Okay. So of course you would hit, excuse me, we hit next. So this would bring you to the the ad portion of the campaign. So this would be the last part. So of course, I was going over earlier, if you have, organic content on your page, for instance, if you have a social presence around your product, around your brand on TikTok, what you could do is run Spark ads, meaning clicking on that, and you would link the account you are using to promote organic content. And what you would do is specifically select which posts you're looking to, engage with. So for instance, Spark ads, it would be, sparking, traffic through your content. So for instance, you have, I'm not sure if you can see that, but for instance, 1,281. This is what your, content would generally look like if you had a viral video. Let's say, for instance, one of your videos did well, popped off, maybe 50K likes, 100K likes. What you could do is, run content through this video, making your brand look more trustable, meaning people are actually interacting with this brand. If you see a ad with 100,000 likes or 50,000 likes, as opposed to, a fresh ad, which one will you trust more? So it's just pretty simple. So organic approach, definitely a good route to take when starting out. That way you could, build that presence around your brand, even if it's like 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers, or just, a couple of videos that spark interest and potential customers. That way you could, double back and run Spark ads through that. So for instance, today, so of course, when it comes to your content, you want to make sure that it fits fully on your screen. So that way you aren't interrupting the flow of, TikTok. So for instance, what we call 16:9 dimensions. So those are the dimensions of what your video needs to be. It's definitely specific to each platform. So for instance, Facebook, it would be 4:3, I believe. But for TikTok and Instagram, it is 16:9. That's the dimensions. If you're looking to outsource content, you want your content creators to create the content in. So for instance, meaning, excuse me, 16:9 would be, for instance, holding the phone up like this, as opposed to this. So keeping the phone vertical when creating the content would allow you to distribute your content in a way where it's not interrupting the overall flow of the TikTok feed. So for instance, if you're scrolling on TikTok and you see a video, it's got black bars on the top and the bottom, the video is only taking up half of the screen, you're most likely going to skip it. So it's just all consumer thinking when it comes to psychologically, subconsciously, getting into the customer's mind, when it comes to selling points, pain points, introducing your product to audiences, as well as distributing that traffic towards your store. It's just about creating the smoothest process possible, eliminating all friction, eliminating all objectives. That's how you can, smoothly convert on a sale. So, of course, in this instance, we have a product that allows you to, helps you lose weight. Meaning we have what we call a transformational product. So for instance, transformation products, meaning taking you from one place to another, is one of the better category of products to, sell, mainly because it is a solution. It's a problem solver. Weight loss is something that maybe 60%, 70% of Americans struggle with. So selling these pain points, amplifying the perceived value of your product is what allows you to, convert on a sale. So for instance, having content that, displays that, meaning progression. So for instance, 1 week using the meta hoop, we already lost a pound, maybe 2 pounds. Amplifying that progression through your content can allow your customer to, resonate well with what your product offers. So of course, content, making sure that. So we have what we call the CTA. So this is the, small text of what you want to, drive towards your store. So for instance, you want to be using persuasive copy to distribute, traffic towards your store. So copy is what we call, CTAs, as well as the copy. So it's what we call the ad text. So terminology, e-commerce terminology, when you get copywriting, that would mean the specific text in an ad and email marketing, as well as, product descriptions, product titles. It's the copy that, persuades the customer to buy. So I'll be going over that in a little bit when we go over to ChatGPT as well. So of course, drop that quarantine body, now 50% off plus free shipping a day. This is a, decent, CTA to drive traffic. So for instance, drop that quarantine body now maybe something that everybody can resonate with. As COVID was a couple years ago, we're in the exiting phases now. People still wearing masks or so, but when it comes to dropping that quarantine body, it plays on that emotions of what a customer is already feeling. Maybe, for instance, they gained a little bit of weight over the pandemic, coming from home, gyms were closed, maybe it was outside, were closed as well. So amplifying those pain points, amplifying, what position they're in right now, as well as what you can, what they can achieve by using your product. So for instance, amplifying that perceived value, as well as creating the issue around your product. So for instance, this is what, problem solving products do, creating issues, even if the issues aren't even there. So creating issues in the customer's mind, the consumer's mind to, distribute that traffic and as well, play on those emotions. Unfortunately, that's how sales works. When it comes to psychologically, subconsciously, understanding how a consumer thinks is, the best way to convert on the sale. So dropping that quarantine body, 50% off. You want that to correlate with the offer you have on your store, as well as, free shipping today only. So when it comes to free shipping today only, what this does is create urgency behind the product. So for instance, the sale is only going on today, even if it's going on for the next 50 days, even going on for the next 90 days on your store. You want to amplify that it's ending today, either get it now or after today, excuse me. Okay, so it's you either get it right here for $44.99 or after today it's going to be $80. So creating that urgency, creating that scarcity around your product can distribute traffic as well. So it's what we call FOMO, fear of missing out. So everyone can, everyone can resonate well with, the fear of missing out when it comes to, new products, new drops. As you know, the Supreme drops a couple years ago, those were selling out in 15, 20 seconds. That fear of missing out creates that scarcity and potential scarcity, I would say, in the customers. So for instance, countdown timers, persuasive copy, what we call the compare ad prices, making sure the product is on sale or it appears to be on sale. So for instance, we have the compare ad price at 80, but we have it $44.99. We have no, we have no interest in actually selling it for 80, but we offer the product at 80, but we also offer it on sale for $45. So of course, creating that scarcity could definitely distribute traffic towards your store. So of course, when it comes to the URL, meaning the destination of where your customer will be sent as soon as they see your product, you want to make sure that is the landing page, not the home page, not the about us page, contact page. You want to make sure that's the land page, meaning eliminating all friction or pages a customer has to see to convert on that sale. So they see, if you're sending them to the home page, contact page, they start looking around, they start forgetting why they was there, and then they're going to go back to what they was doing. So you want to send them straight to the home, straight to the product page, landing page. That way they could check out, they can see everything you need to know in terms of what's revolving around your product, what you offer, and check out right there. We do have about 10 minutes left in this class. You want to make sure the pixel is tracking. Impressions, you can leave all that broad. So of course, once that is done, you want to hit submit. All right, so of course, once that campaign is live, you want to go in and create what we call duplicates. That way you could duplicate those campaigns, those ad groups into more ad groups. So for instance, right now we have one campaign active. Which one is it? It's the, okay. So for instance, when you click on that, it will take you to the ad groups. So under the ad groups, you have what's called the copy button. On Instagram and Facebook, it will say duplicate, but for TikTok, it does says copy. So what this does is copy the ad groups that you just selected, that you just created. And you want to create copy 1, copy 2, and you can create multiple copies. So for instance, if you want to create 10 copies, you could, 15 copies, you could, but it would also, if it's a CBO, you would be only spending however much the budget was set out for. So you could have multiple different copies, testing different interests, different audiences. So for instance, couple don't look alike audiences, couple broad, meaning testing nothing, interesting nothing, no audiences, as well as a couple directly dial into, what you're offering as a niche. That way you could directly analyze which ones are performing well, which ad groups, which audiences, which content to, analyze what's moving. So in terms of whatever ad group is moving the units is where you want to, allocate your funds. So for instance, 9 copies. So of course, pixel, optimization event, the cart, make sure that's good, custom targeting. So of course, if you're looking to, go in and switch up the targeting, maybe go broad, maybe go lookalike audience in terms of the audiences you created, as well as if you wanted to keep it the same, you could do it as well. But when it comes to, duplicating your ad groups, what I recommend once you do that is to introduce more creatives. So introducing new content and creatives into your ad groups would allow you to, understand which one of these creatives are moving units faster. So that would be what we call finding a winning creative. So for instance, we're going to deselect those audiences, no audience. We're going to keep this one broad.
Wait, Josh, so this class is over like in 7 minutes, right? Everything?
Trying to hurry up.
Because I had 2 questions.
Right, so of course you have the budget is the same, so you don't have to worry about that. Spend 100 regardless. Advanced settings. Excuse me. Like now, so at the bottom you have continue to ads. That would take you to the next portion of the campaign. So for instance, excuse me.
Josh, can you hear me?
Okay, it's buffering. Waiting a little bit.
Can you hear me, Josh?
So of course, when it comes to the duplications of those ad groups, if you're looking to introduce new content, you can. That's what I recommend, of course. So for instance, you get update from computer, from ad library, or you can create a video straight from the TikTok platform. What I would do is, if you were looking to stack up on influencer content or professional content creators, you could do that. Having multiple creatives you can introduce, into the market in that testing phase, as well as into that scaling phase. So identifying those creatives, winning creatives through duplicate ad groups is, the best way to distribute the highest quality traffic towards your store.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, can you hear me?
Of course, we want to make sure that URLs on the landing page.
Oh, no, I don't think he can. He can't hear me.
There we go. Apps. Want to make sure that pixel is selected, MetaHoop US, and then you want to hit publish. So what this would do is publish each of your ads at the same time. So it did publish all 10. So if you wanted to directly go into each duplicate ad group and change the content, maybe switch up the CTAs, switch up the content as well as the the audiences, you could do that as well. But you have to manually be going into each ad group to do that as well, though. Before we move on to the ChatGPT, was there any questions on that TikTok process in terms of the audiences duplication process as well as the campaign in general?
Yeah, somebody here has a question.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you?
Yeah, we have questions.
Gotcha. Yes.
Can you hear me?
I think Kathleen has a question. I don't think you can hear her.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, so I was just asking, so the whole class is over in 4 minutes, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, well, I have questions, but it's not about this. It's not about ads. Can I ask them anyway, since the class is ending in 4 minutes?
So what I could do is once the class is over, we can reconvene. I'll start the class back over for about 10-15 minutes. So that way we get the questions in.
Okay.
We would all have to just, come back to the class how we did the first time, though, unfortunately, for tonight. for the next couple classes, it will be, fixed in terms of the premium account. Gotcha. Was there anyone else who had any questions? No, okay. So I'll try to do that before. Okay. So for instance, when it comes to ChatGPT, definitely one of the most useful tools on the market at the moment. I can't stress that enough. AI is taking over, the game in terms of business, automating specific features on your business, as well as creating content, as well as scripts for email marketing, product descriptions, as well as just generating anything you may need. So I would say it's one of the most useful tools that ever came out in the history of mankind, I would say. But when it comes to templates, so what we do is, if you have Chrome, you could download the Chrome extension from the Chrome Web Store. It is called Keywords Everywhere. This one right here, it is called Keywords Everywhere. So what this does is allow you to track search volume on Google. So for instance, let's say protein powder. What you can do is search up any term, anything you're looking to get interested in. Keywords Everywhere will come up with a graph, as well as specific analytics that allow you to track this search volume. That way you can understand what's bringing in the most search volume in terms of key terms, as well as keywords you can implement into your descriptions, as well as your ad copy. So 100,000 a week, that's insane numbers, as well as keywords allow you to understand which one is bringing in the most volume. That way, when it comes to your Google SEO, your Facebook ad copy, your TikTok ad copy, you can use these keywords. These keywords that are bringing in the most volume. Yes, but you would have to add this keywords extension to your Chrome Web Store to use this ChatGPT. So should wait to the class. Okay. Gotcha. We do have less than a minute left, unfortunately. So once the class stops, we could reconvene into the class in a couple minutes. We can have the question process, as well as the going over the ChatGPT as well. But yes, of course, when it comes to the Keywords Everywhere ChatGPT prompt template, what these templates do is bring you scripts, write you content based off of what you need. So for instance, choosing the category, copywriting, as I was saying, that would be overall copy, overall ad text of what you will be pushing out. So for instance, product descriptions, email marketing, as well as Facebook ad copy, whatever advertising platform you're looking to advertise on. The copy that you'll be using to persuade the customer to send traffic towards your store is considered copywriting, as well as marketing. Give it a couple more minutes. Wait for everyone to get back in. Apologies for that. 10. Okay, this should be everyone. But yes, in terms of the ChatGPT, utilizing this to come up with descriptions, as you can see on the side, I've been using it very, very actively. But of course, it does save for you if you wanted to come back to it as well. But for instance, choose a category. We have marketing or copywriting, as well as SEO. So for instance, copywriting, email copywriting, landing pages, content writing, whatever you need. For instance, email writing, say, matter of fact, let's go with SEO. So of course, e-commerce SEO, product description generator. If you have product descriptions on your store that you want to clean up a little bit, or switch up in terms of more persuasive, you could do that as well. So we have languages, of course, English, voice tones. What I like to do is informative. That way you could inform the inform the potential customer on what you're selling, what you offer as a brand. Informative, as well as humorous. Two of these could be useful as well. So informative, when it comes to the writing style and writing styles, you definitely want to have persuasive. That's the only one I would use. Persuasive, in terms of the copy, as well as the product description. You want a small description of what your product brings. That way, the AI could generate a response. So, for instance, product description, say waist trainer. So of course, weight loss, waist trainer that acts as a hula hoop. You want to be, a little bit more descriptive. That way, the AI could, generate a response based off of, what you're looking to sell. So you would hit execute template. You got to take wait for a couple seconds. Then it should start generating your message. It's buffering for a little bit.
And this is for what?
This is for anything you could think of when it comes to product descriptions, email marketing, automations, as well as ad copy. So this would be the persuasive text you can use around your brand to distribute traffic. So of course, using these templates can allow you to come up with different responses, different generations. That way you could utilize that well. So for instance, SEO, marketing frameworks. So if it comes to category marketing frameworks, select a template. Here we have what was called the AIDA. So AIDA is the attention, interest, desire, and action. So this is the 4-piece funnel, and converting on the sale, as well as capturing the attention of a potential customer. So of course we have the attention, meaning getting the general attention. Your content will be the hook. So getting the attention of your customer based off of what you sell, what you offer. I'm gonna wait for this one to stop generating first. Say AIDA framework, English, informative, persuasive. I say 3 and 1.
Still don't know what ad copy is.
So
That's the description in your ad.
yes. So for
But
instance,
is that something that the customer sees?
yes. So the Facebook ad library, the TikTok ad library, these are sources you can use to see ads. So for instance, hit ad category, facebook.com/ads.library. So you could type in on Google Facebook ads library, it will come up with this. So for instance, all ads, and you can specifically type in keywords or advertisers who are in your niche or selling specific products similar to you. That way you can see, good ads, successful ads, what good content looks like. So for instance, so what we call ad copy is the text you would use to describe what your product does and distribute that traffic towards your store. So copy is what is explaining, how your product is useful, how it's convenient on a day-to-day basis, as well as what your product offers in terms of, transformation wise. So of course, inside the weight loss niche, we would be inside the copy going over how this product can transform you from, one place to another. So having good ad copy, persuasive ad copy, whether you get them ChatGPT, you come up with it yourself, is definitely crucial. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just don't know how it fit into the TikTok ad.
So when it comes to TikTok, you don't have to worry about copy, mainly because you have the little small box where it comes to the CTA. That's the only copy you have to worry about. That would be, the initial CTA. You just have to worry about the promotional offer you're offering at this moment. So for instance, for the one that we had, Yes, so here where it says text, this would be the copy you would utilize to distribute the traffic towards your store. So for instance, drop the quarantine body that could, resonate well with customers who have been feeling down based off of the pandemic. People who have gain weight, 50% off. You also have specific offer on what you are offering. So for instance, 50% off, it was $99, but it's now $44.99, as well as you have free shipping. That way, today only, to create that urgency. So of course, inside your text, you only have not that much, but being persuasive to drive that traffic is what would be crucial to converting on the sale. So of course, the text is a small variable in terms of actually converting on the whole process. The most important thing I would worry on is the content, making sure you have quality content, 4K quality content, revolving around your product, amplifying that perceived value around what you offer as a brand.
Okay.
Mhm. It was great. So of course, you have attention, interest, desire, and action. This would be the 4 steps to driving that traffic, creating that interest around your product, and getting a customer to convert on that sale. So for instance, interest, tired of struggling with the broom, mop and duster separately. We've got a solution you've been waiting on for. Our 3-in-1 multifunctional broom mop. Of course, it will be whatever your name is, you can implement that. The name of your product. It's here to revolutionize your cleaning routine. So what this does is generate copy that's persuasive to get a customer to ditch what they have going on to come work with you and work with what your product offers. So for instance, if we had a 3-in-1 broom that acted as a broom, a mop, as well as a dustpan, we would be, changing the game in terms of cleaning services, that being a hassle, as well as, introducing a product that could, shorten that time frame of, cleaning process. So anything that is convenient, it can be problem solve, as well as create multiple variations of what you need, can definitely sell well. So we got the solution to revolutionize, which is a big bold statement. Revolutionize meaning excuse me, revolutionize meaning to everything was in the past, doesn't matter anymore. What we have, what we offer is the new era of cleaning. So revolutionize your cleaning routine. No more cluttered closets or wasted time searching for different tools. With this versatile cleaning powerhouse, you'll breeze through your chores in no time. So imagine effortlessly gliding across your floor, seamlessly switching from broom to mop with a flick of your wrist. So we are, creating that desire in the customer's mind, imagery. So of course, creating that imagery in the customer's mind through our content or through our, description is what would get them to imagine what would they be doing if they had this product. So for instance, how easier it would be to clean, how easy it would be to do what they need to do and save time on what they have to do. So for instance, inside your copy, inside your content, if you can amplify that, it would be easier to convert on a sale. So for instance, 3-in-1 mop combines the best of both worlds, saving you valuable time and energy. Its innovative design allows you to tackle dust, dirt, and spills with ease, leaving your floors spotless and sparkling, creating that desire, creating that interest. But that's not all. The incredible cleaning tool is also equipped with a built-in duster. Adding features, different variations to the product will also create that interest in the customer as well. So ensuring no speck or dust goes unnoticed, which is one tool you can sweep, mop, and dust your entire home, reaching every nook and cranny. It's likely having a cleaning army in the palm of your hand. Also creating that imagery, analogies, allowing the customer to imagine what this product would like and how it's convenient for them. So of course you have the action, last but not least. The CTA is what will actually drive that content, drive that customer to converting on that sale. So don't miss out on cleaning revolution. Take action now and make your life easier. With the 3-in-1 mop, say goodbye to the hassle of juggling multiple cleaning tools and hello to a cleaner, more organized home. So already we are creating that imagery in their head, what their home looks like after our product. So that transformation process, maybe you had a dirty home, clean home, doesn't matter. Maybe they had 50 mops, 100 brooms, doesn't matter. What we offer is, revolutionizing the game. So of course, when it comes to, comparative marketing, that could also be, useful to distribute traffic as well. So for instance, if you ever seen Coke, Pepsi, or Verizon or T-Mobile, they would straight diss the other brands to introduce traffic towards their brand. So for instance, you see Verizon, they'll say 5G as opposed to, T-Mobile or Cricket. They would show their, I'm pretty sure everyone has seen that commercial before. You got the big map for the phone companies. For instance, Verizon, it would take up the whole map, then T-Mobile will only take up like the Midwest or the Northeast. And then of course you have Cricket, they had like nothing. Then you had like Boost Mobile, it took up nothing. It's basically comparing your brand to the other brand and amplifying what you bring as a brand as well. So for instance, comparative marketing could definitely be useful as well. Was there any questions on, was there any questions on this process in terms of the ChatGPT, as well as any questions in general for the class? Basecamp, I'm talking with the.
I have 2 questions. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, it's not on ChatGPT or the ads. I'm just wondering, do you get access to certain products or different products based on like what your revenue is? Because like I've been looking for this gun that I saw Jess promoting. It's the Gel Blaster and it's like pink with green lines on it. I can't find it on ZenDrop or CJ. So I just wonder, maybe because like he already has a lot of revenue coming in, does he get access to different products?
So that is the case sometimes when it comes to fulfillment stores, as well as what we call private agents who could source specific products you're looking for. They usually, work with, people who are bringing in, good revenue, I would say. I'd say at least a couple, thousand a month bringing in. That way, of course, you can leverage the business. They get a commission fee for, each sale, about 1-2% or something like that. But of course, you see products that you may not see on CJ or ZenDrop. They might be coming from, private agents or private sellers. Yes.
But where do you, I thought those private sellers were like on like CJ, you just have to contact them directly. So if not, so how do I get in contact with private sellers then?
Yes. So of course we have a couple different agents you can use. There's some that are simplified inside the course as well. I believe it's the first or second module. Honest fulfillment, a couple other fulfillment processes, fulfillment services you can use. But of course they have, as I was saying earlier, minimum order requirements in terms of specific quantity of how much you're selling, how many units you're moving in order to work with you. But of course, once you generate revenue coming in, they would work with you in terms of holding your brand, holding your inventory, as well as maybe private labeling, custom packaging. When it comes to transitioning over to a full-on brand, they can help you with that.
Okay. All right. That's why. Okay. And then the second, you guys, I know you guys like FBA also. I'm just wondering, can you just tell me what's more profitable, you think, like FBA or drop shipping? Because I see like some things on Amazon that I don't see on ZenDrop or CJ.
Yes. So of course they both have their pros and cons, but when it comes to, Shopify dropshipping, I would say it's more profitable, mainly because Amazon, you can definitely make sales pretty quickly as well. But they do have the FBA fees. I believe they take 50% or 40 to 50%, as well as a couple other fees in terms of holding the inventory, Amazon seller fees. It's just the fees start to rack up, and at the end of the day, you don't have full control over your brand. So when it comes to Shopify, you have your Shopify account, you have your brand, you have full control, unless you, of course, go against Shopify policies. They won't do anything to your brand. Amazon, they can shut your brand down anytime, whenever they feel like it. So that is a con of Amazon. But when it comes to the overall price matching profit ranges, I would like Shopify more.
Gotcha.
Amazon definitely is an option as well, though. So of course, once you are generating great revenue when it comes to transitioning onto Amazon, that way you could have, easier access, as well as taking over, a different platform. You could do that as well. But as I was there any other questions? Okay.
So I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So I just started to like posting products on Instagram, but I don't think that's really like making any conversion rate. So I'm thinking to start the TikTok posting.
Yes.
So I'm just starting to, and I just started to sell products, but it is better to start with the TikTok business account and pay for ads, or just post on the personal account for starting.
So what was the question? I'm sorry.
The question is, like, it is better to start with the personal account TikTok or the business account?
Definitely the business account, especially when it's, you know, revolving around your brand. You definitely want to make sure it's, you know, correlating well. For instance, if you don't want content around your personal life on your brand page. So you definitely want to be, you know, as brandable as possible when it comes to these social presences. For instance, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. When it comes to creating these social presences on these pages, you want to make sure it's as brandable as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. So of course, when it comes to pushing organic content, creating the page around your brand, whether that's Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram, Google SEO, definitely a multitude of avenues you can use to distribute traffic towards your store. A couple free ways, for instance, organic marketing is a free way, Instagram Reels are a free way, Google SEO is a free way. Most of your, all of your stores should be coming up with, coming with SEO integrated as well anyway, in terms of, you know, keywords that are bringing in, you know, the most search volume. That way you could distribute traffic towards your store just by being on Google, as well as Pinterest. So Pinterest is a good option as well. It works as a search engine, just like Google, and it's the second biggest and third biggest actually search engine behind Google and YouTube. So for instance, when it comes to advertising platforms, we have entertainment platforms, and we also have search engines. So for instance, YouTube, Google, and Pinterest will be classified as search engines, meaning people actually come to these platforms for information on, you know, what they're looking to get. So for instance, you're selling products if within the home fitness niche, home weight loss niche, people are coming to these search engine platforms for information on how to lose weight, information on what they could do to, you know, improve their physique. And here you come in with those keywords, specific keywords, SEO generated to get your product in front of customers who are looking for those specific terms. So of course, that could be a way to, you know, distribute free traffic, as well as, you know, paid traffic as well. Any other questions before we wrap up?
Yeah, what if I was to use Fiverr to like try to get this marketing set up for me? Would you suggest that?
Me, I wouldn't recommend anything from Fiverr, mainly because it's not too reliable, especially when it comes to the process you were speaking on in terms of having someone run your marketing for you. I just wouldn't trust anyone inside of my ad account with my card on it, with, you know, with anything. So for instance, Fiverr, I wouldn't recommend. When it comes to creating content, that could be a useful option, but you definitely have to do your diligence in terms of seeing the examples of what they create, as well as, you know, reviews. That way you can understand if you're working with a good seller or not, or a good Fiverr user or not.
What if it was just to set up the like TikTok followers?
TikTok followers. What do you
Yeah,
mean by
because I
that?
know that sometimes these guys are able to get TikTok followers up to like in thousands. So that, I mean, basically you're buying followers
Okay.
at that point, but I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not.
In my personal experience, that could, you know, mess with the algorithm in terms of pushing out the content. I've seen people get shadow banned, blackballed, as you would say, after buying followers. I've seen someone who bought 100K followers, and then like the next 2 months it was down to like 65. Then a couple months after that, it was like down to like 39. I think the followers disappeared. But in terms of buying followers, if you can find someone with, you know, certified certified services in terms of it won't go away, it's actual authentic views or authentic likes, then maybe go for it. But in terms of recommendations, I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
Mhm.
One more thing. So
Yes.
my Basecamp subscription ends tomorrow, which I'm really scared. I asked them this question. They might get back to me probably tomorrow, but you're here. So does it come with, did they install, I guess, a tracking app on there? So like whenever the client purchases, they're going to get a tracking number automatically when it ships?
Oh, you mean for the fulfillment process?
Yeah, like, is that part of the store creation? Do they put like a app for tracking on there?
Yes.
Okay,
So
okay.
for instance, I see one of the other stores that was built by the team. Let's see. Hold on one second. So of course, this app called Tracking More, order tracking, should be on your app. If you already have your app, I mean, if you can use your Shopify store, access that, go over to the apps and see if the Tracking More order tracking is on. If it's not, you can reach out to the Basecamp and they should get that situated for you.
Okay,
But it should be, yes.
got it.
So in terms of the once the order is sent off from the suppliers, they should have the automation process in terms of selecting. I mean, once it's gonna be shipped out from the supplier after it's processed, the tracking number should be available pretty soon after that, and then it will be imported into the Tracking More order tracking app, and it would allow the customer to see that as well.
Okay, and actually, I was forgot about one thing. How does the return process work? I sent them this, like, clearly, I think of all my questions the day before my subscription ends. How does the return process work? Because like on my page, which I was trying to ask them, they put, for within 15 days, return or email, mine is called Bryn Decor, email us, and we'll send you a return shipping label. And I'm just like, well, I thought I didn't have to do anything with the return. So how does that work with CJ drop shipping?
So that is one variable of drop shipping. Suppliers, they don't take back products after the product's gone, it's gone. So it's either you have a PO box set up to take back returns and customers can send it back to you that way, or that's it. That's probably the only option I would say. So having that PO box or send it back to your house, I won't recommend that. Having customers with your address location. But a PO box setup, you could, if they're in good condition, in good condition, same condition of when it was sent off, you could, once you make the next sale, send it off to the next customer, just replace the shipping package once you get the information for the customer in terms of their address and stuff. So of course, I would only do that if it was in great condition in terms of packaging and in terms of what it came in. So that way, customers not too skeptical on this came in busted up packaging, they're going to send it right back to you.
How would you send it back out to them if CJ Dropshipping is fulfilling your preferred products?
So for instance, if you have a PO box set up and they send it back to you in terms of a refund or a return, you could go to the post office once you do make a new sale and send that directly off to the next customer.
Don't fulfill it on Shopify, or don't
don't do the clicks.
Or, yeah. Like, don't send the message to CJ to fulfill it.
Yes, no.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just going to say, so they didn't tell me any of that.
Who did?
That's not good. I'm saying Basecamp,
no,
or whoever made my store.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't tell me anything about that as far as the return instead of a PO box or nothing like that. So,
okay.
Well, so thank you.
Yes, no problem. I definitely relay that to the team just so customers make sure, clients make sure in the future. Thank you.
Okay.
Any more questions before we wrap up? Any last remarks on the class today?
We'll definitely have to go back and look over this whole ad setup thing. That's all.
Yes. So it should be afterwards to the recording process finishes as well as rendering it together and uploading it to YouTube. Then I'll get the link out to you all.
But you said it's okay. So, well, I thought I've gone through like most of the course. Where is this that in the course though? Like, is that the very end?
What these Spark ads?
We're talking about setting up the ads and everything, like in y'all's course.
Yeah, so of course we have the first couple modules, then we have the bonus files, then we have at the end we have the Spark ads as well as the Facebook ads.
Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. Cool. Well, thank you very much. We put our emails in the new chat.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Should be the same chat. Do we have to pay for using ChatGPT? No, ChatGPT is free unless you get the full premium version. These emails. If you haven't selected your email, type that down in the chat below at this moment. So that way I can get that out to you all. Write these down, matter of fact. As well as you were saying earlier, when you wanted to reach out to suppliers, inside the course, there is a supplier contact script that I like to send out to suppliers when it comes to looking at new variations or, excuse me. Gotta move this out of the way. Gotcha. So of course you can download it. It should be a download link here. Download any of these PDFs if you would like for the contact script. Hey, hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. I am a professional dropshipper. I am, scaling up to blah, blah, blah in revenue. I'm interested in the product you offer. I want to know if you had any different variations that were selling well. So for instance, if you have, that's a good option to, introduce new markets, new variations that way. So for instance, you have a product that's been banging for the last couple of weeks or last couple of months that you've seen on TikTok. You could reach out to suppliers to see if they have different variations. Then you could implement those variations, test those, put ad spend behind them to see if it has sale potential. So for instance, an example of that. I did go over an example of that inside of the course, I believe, inside the product research section. As I was going over the blender, it was a blender that would, blend up smoothies. It was, going pretty crazy for the last couple months on TikTok. What I did was I found a variation of the product. I reached out to the suppliers. AliExpress. I won't recommend AliExpress mainly because the shipping times are pretty long. If it's not on CJ or ZenDrop, what you could do is reach out to the suppliers on CJ as well as ZenDrop to see if they could integrate these products, switch those products for you. But if not, AliExpress might have to be the move. But for instance, Blender. Just closing up remarks, just showing you all if you do find products that are doing well, you could create different variations or introduce variations to the market. So I did see and find it now, which is the crazy part. Okay. But yes, as I was saying, it was a pretty sure I can find it. I definitely can't find it. But as I was saying, the different variations of a product, there was a blender that was doing pretty well. It was BlendJet. There was a couple other different brands that was pushing it. But it was a different variation that looked like a bunny. It had like bunny eggs on top of the blender. It did the same. It worked the same way. It was just a different variation coming at a different route, a different marketing angle. As well as it looked good. It was attractively appealing to a potential customer. Of course, it's same to serve the same purpose. But it's just coming at a different angle. That way, if it's competition wise, you could come in and introduce something new, as well as dive into the same niche of sellers, demographic of sellers.
Gotcha. Okay. Want to make sure for the return policy again, is it the same with ZenDrop? Like it's the same way, they got to send it back to me still with ZenDrop?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe ZenDrop, if you have the premium, I believe they do take returns. I believe I would have to recheck on that. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
It was. Okay, I cannot find it. I definitely will find it for the next class. But yes, any other questions or remarks before we close up?
Yeah, I have a last question.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that it is better to use TikTok, the business account campaign for advertising products rather than using personal account, which is like designed as a shop to post product videos.
Yes, so of course, it definitely depends on, you know, what approach you're coming at. Sorry for cutting you off. But in terms of the business account, this provides, you know, more restrictions, I mean, less restrictions in terms of, you know, full reins on, you know, advertising, setting up campaigns, as well as they somewhat prioritize you as an agency. So for instance, you can have a TikTok agency account as well, but when it comes to the business account, they prioritize you in terms of as an actual brand as opposed to, you know, personal. So in terms
Yeah.
of easier to get into the algorithm, campaigns, flow a little smoother, as well as, you know, generating that traffic is a little bit easier as opposed to a personal.
Because I just started to, just make the online store, but I like asked to the people who is in a base camp, but they said they don't really recommend to spend money in the advertising when you just start. That's why I'm asking you.
Yes. So as I was saying, you know, earlier, taking that organic approach could definitely be, you know, a good option starting out. That way you could, you know, build that social presence around your brand as opposed to, you know, running ads on 0 followers, running ads on, you know, 0 engagement. It could be, you know, building extra social proof, extra trust around your brand that people, you know, are actually interacting. As well as, you know, building up that presence is, you know, also beneficial as well. So in terms of coming off as a full brand, transitioning into the go-to spot for, you know, whatever product you're selling, could definitely be lucrative.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you all for popping out. The next class will again be Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time as well. It will be recorded. Can't make it. This one will be up on YouTube by the end of the night. I will be sending it to all of you all's emails. So thank you all again. Appreciate you all for, you know, tuning in. See you all next week.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.